What if Arnold Schwarzenegger's most famous line was never supposed to exist? The Terminator wasn't just another sci-fi flick from the 80s. It was a fever dream that became a cultural phenomenon, shot on stolen street corners with a budget so tight they could only afford one explosion. From O.J. Simpson almost playing a killer robot to a theme song recorded in someone's garage, this movie redefined action cinema through sheer creative desperation. Let's uncover the 20 wild secrets that turned a low-budget gamble into an immortal classic. Number 1. I'll be back was almost said differently.
I'll be back.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's defining catchphrase, 3 words that launched 1,000 impressions, wasn't his idea at all. The script originally read, "I will be back," grammatically proper and completely forgettable. Arnold pushed back hard against James Cameron, arguing that the contraction didn't fit his character's mechanical speech pattern. Cameron stood his ground, insisting the shorter phrase had more punch and felt more natural in English. The director won that battle, and cinema gained one of its most quoted lines. Today, those 3 syllables are worth millions in merchandising and parodies. Arnold himself admits Cameron was right, though it took years for him to fully appreciate the rhythm of that simple phrase. Number 2. O.J. Simpson was almost cast as the Terminator. Here's where things get uncomfortable. Before Arnold was even in the conversation, studio executives were pushing hard for O.J. Simpson to play the unstoppable killing machine. Simpson was a household name, a charismatic athlete-turned-actor with broad appeal and bankability. But James Cameron refused outright, telling producers that Simpson seemed too nice and too friendly to convincingly portray a merciless assassin from the future. The studio backed down, Arnold got the role, and Cameron's judgment call became one of cinema's most awkward footnotes. Given what happened a decade later, the irony is almost too heavy to process. Sometimes casting instincts reveal more than anyone could have predicted. Number 3. Arnold originally wanted to play Kyle Reese. When Schwarzenegger first read the script, he saw himself as the hero, not the villain. He arrived at his meeting with Cameron prepared to lobby for the Kyle Reese role, believing that playing the time-traveling soldier would be better for his career trajectory. But as Arnold described the Terminator's movements and tactical thinking during that conversation, Cameron had an epiphany. Arnold's physicality, his deliberate movements, his intense focus, everything screamed machine, not man. Cameron convinced him that the Terminator was actually the more iconic part, the role that would define him. Arnold trusted that vision, and the rest became history. The hero's role went to Michael Biehn, while Arnold became cinema's most memorable robot. Number 4. The budget was so low, they stole shots on the street. Guerrilla. Filmmaking wasn't just a stylistic choice. It was financial necessity. Cameron and his tiny crew regularly filmed major scenes without permits, racing against time before police or city officials could shut them down. Explosions happened in real locations with minimal safety protocols, car chases blazed through actual Los Angeles streets without proper authorization, and the crew scattered multiple times when authorities approached. The famous gun shop scene? Filmed in a real store during off hours. The police chase sequences? Captured with skeleton crews and handheld cameras. This wasn't bold artistic rebellion. It was survival mode. The film's raw, documentary-like energy came directly from this desperate production style. Every shot was stolen time, borrowed space, and pure adrenaline. Number 5. The famous police station massacre was shot in a real office building at night. One of the movie's most intense sequences, the Terminator's systematic slaughter of an entire police station, was filmed in an actual downtown office building. The crew could only access the location after business hours, shooting from evening until dawn, then frantically cleaning up all evidence of fake blood, bullet holes, and destruction before employees returned each morning. For weeks, office workers had no idea their workplace had transformed into a war zone every night. The production designer would restore everything to perfect normalcy by 7 a.m., and the crew would return at 6 p.m. to set up again. This exhausting schedule pushed everyone to their limits, but the location's authenticity shows in every frame. Real fluorescent lighting, actual office furniture, genuine institutional architecture, all contributing to the scene's gritty realism. Number 6. Schwarzenegger had only 16 lines of dialogue. Despite being the title character and marketing centerpiece, Arnold speaks just 58 words throughout the entire film. His longest speech is, "I'll be back." And that's only 3 words. This wasn't a limitation of Arnold's acting ability, but a brilliant creative choice. Machines don't chit-chat, don't explain themselves, don't negotiate. Every syllable the Terminator utters is functional, direct, and devoid of emotion. Arnold prepared for the role by studying how machines move and process information, stripping away all human mannerisms and warmth. The minimalist performance forced him to communicate through body language, facial economy, and physical presence. It's arguably his most disciplined acting work, proving that sometimes silence speaks louder than dialogue. Number 7. Lance Henriksen was the original Terminator concept. Before Arnold's bodybuilder physique redefined the role, James Cameron envisioned the Terminator as an average-looking man, someone who could walk through a crowd completely unnoticed. Lance Henriksen, who later appeared in Aliens and Millennium, was Cameron's first choice for this concept. To prove he understood the character, Henriksen arrived at HBO. His audition in full method mode, dressed in torn clothes, missing teeth painted black, and gold foil wrapped around his dental work to look mechanical. He even kicked the studio door open and scared the executives half to death. Cameron loved the commitment, but ultimately the role evolved into something requiring different physical attributes. Henriksen would later work with Cameron multiple times, but the Terminator went in a completely different direction. Number 8. Brad Fiedel played the entire Terminator theme on a cheap synthesizer. That iconic, pulsing theme song, the mechanical heartbeat that defined the franchise, was created on budget equipment in Brad Fiedel's home studio. The composer didn't have access to expensive orchestras or cutting-edge technology. Instead, he worked with affordable synthesizers, drum machines, and whatever gear he could afford or borrow. The main theme's distinctive metallic percussion was created by manipulating simple keyboard sounds and layering them obsessively. Much of the score was recorded in his garage, with Fiedel experimenting late into the night until he found sounds that felt cold, inhuman, and relentless. The theme's hypnotic quality comes from its mechanical repetition, mirroring the Terminator's own unstoppable nature. Sometimes limitations breed genius, and this score proves it. Number 9. The stop-motion endoskeleton scenes took weeks for just seconds of footage. The climactic battle with the exposed metal skeleton, one of cinema's most terrifying images, was created through painstaking stop-motion animation. Each frame required minute adjustments to a physical model, photographed individually, then assembled into fluid movement. Some shots demanded 8 to 12 hours of meticulous work for only 3 or 4 seconds of screen time. The animator would adjust the skeleton's position by fractions of inches, take a photo, adjust again, photo again, repeating this process thousands of times. Any mistake meant starting over. The dedication shows that endoskeleton moves with uncanny realism, seeming both mechanical and purposeful. Modern CGI can accomplish this in minutes, but there's something viscerally real about practical effects that still resonates today. Number 10. The Tech Noir Club scene was filmed in a real nightclub. The sequence where Kyle Reese saves Sarah Connor from the Terminator's first assassination attempt was shot in an actual operating nightclub. During daytime hours, the venue functioned normally, serving customers and hosting events. But every evening, Cameron's crew would arrive, transform the space with lighting and set dressing, film intense action sequences with gunfire and stunt work, then completely strike the set before morning. The club's management continued regular business throughout filming, unaware that their venue was becoming movie history each night. The logistics were nightmarish, coordinating extras, managing sound levels, ensuring safety while filming violent action. But the location's authenticity gives the scene its gritty, lived-in atmosphere. You can feel the reality of that space in every shot. Number 11. Cameron wrote the script after a fever dream. The Terminator didn't emerge from careful outlining or studio development. It came from James Cameron's subconscious during a bout of illness. Feverish and delirious in a Rome hotel room, Cameron dreamed of a chrome skeleton rising from flames, its red eyes glowing with inhuman purpose, dragging itself forward with relentless determination. He woke up terrified and inspired in equal measure. Unable to sleep, he sketched the image that haunted him, and the entire story began crystallizing around that central vision. That nightmare became the movie's emotional core, the unstoppable force that will not bargain, cannot be reasoned with, and absolutely will not stop. Every horror movie owes something to its creator's nightmares, but few capture that primal terror as purely as this one. Number 12. Arnold trained to reload guns without looking. To emphasize the Terminator's machine-like precision, Arnold spent weeks practicing weapons handling until every movement became automatic. He trained with firearms experts, learning to reload, chamber rounds, and manipulate safeties without glancing down or hesitating. The goal was to make every action look pre-programmed, as if his hands were following software instructions rather than human muscle memory. Watch any scene where the Terminator handles weapons. There's no fumbling, no adjustment, no human uncertainty. Arnold's eyes remain fixed on his target while his hands operate independently, mechanically efficient. This subtle performance detail separates the character from typical action heroes. Humans check their guns, adjust their grip, show small signs of thought. Machines simply execute. Arnold understood that distinction perfectly. Number 13. The truck explosion was done in one take. The climactic tanker truck explosion, a massive fireball that provided the film's signature image, happened exactly once. The production could afford one truck, one setup, one attempt. If anything went wrong, they couldn't reshoot. The special effects team rigged the vehicle with explosives, calculated the trajectory for the flip, and prayed their math was correct. Cameron called action, the charges detonated, and the truck erupted into a massive fireball exactly as planned. The crew erupted in cheers because they knew they had just captured something spectacular and irreplaceable. That sense of relief and triumph shows in the final cut. The explosion looks dangerous and real because it was dangerous and real, executed by a team with no safety net and no second chances. Number 14. The eye surgery scene used a full-size Arnold animatronic. One of the film's most disturbing moments, the Terminator performing bathroom surgery on its damaged face, required cutting-edge practical effects. Team built a life-sized animatronic head that perfectly matched Arnold's features, capable of subtle movements and frighteningly realistic expressions. The puppet was controlled by multiple technicians operating servos and hydraulics, coordinating their movements to create believable motion. Arnold acted alongside his own mechanical double, feeding it lines while the puppet appeared to move independently. The effect still holds up because it's tangibly real. Cameras captured actual light reflecting off actual surfaces. The scene's body horror comes from that physical reality. Modern films often rely on digital face replacement, but there's something uniquely unsettling about practical prosthetics that CGI struggles to replicate. Number 15. The film was delayed because Cameron refused to shoot another script first. Before The Terminator could happen, James Cameron faced a career-defining choice. He'd been hired to direct Piranha 2, The Spawning, a low-budget creature feature nobody expected to matter. But Cameron had already written The Terminator and believed in its potential absolutely. Multiple producers offered to buy the script if Cameron would step aside and let an established director handle it. He refused every offer, insisting the only way forward was letting him direct his own screenplay. This stubbornness cost him time, money, and industry relationships. But Cameron understood something crucial. His vision for this story was too specific, too personal to hand over. That uncompromising commitment shows in every frame. The Terminator bears Cameron's fingerprints because he fought for creative control when he had no leverage. Number 16. Bill Paxton holds the record for being killed by an alien, a predator, and a Terminator. Before becoming a leading man, Bill Paxton paid his dues as a character actor in genre films. His brief appearance in The Terminator as a punk hassling the newly arrived killing machine makes him part of cinema's most exclusive club. He's the only actor killed on screen by an alien in Aliens, a predator in Predator 2, and a Terminator. It's a weird, wonderful bit of trivia that Paxton himself loved discussing at conventions and interviews. His punk character gets maybe 2 minutes of screen time before the Terminator takes his clothes and leaves him stripped and terrified. But that tiny role connected him to James Cameron, leading to their collaboration on Aliens and other projects. Sometimes your smallest parts open the biggest doors. Number 17. Linda Hamilton performed many stunts despite an ankle injury. Sarah Connor's transformation from frightened waitress to action survivor required Linda Hamilton to perform physically demanding work throughout filming. Unfortunately, she damaged her ankle early in production, a painful injury that should have sidelined her for weeks. Instead, Hamilton insisted on continuing, performing running scenes, fighting sequences, and dangerous stunts while managing constant pain. The adrenaline-fueled chase sequences, her desperate scramble through the police station, the final factory confrontation, all performed while nursing a significant injury. Hamilton's commitment shows in Sarah's evolution. You can see genuine exhaustion and strain in her performance because it was real. That authenticity helped make Sarah Connor one of cinema's most believable action heroines, grounded in actual physical struggle rather than choreographed perfection. Number 18. The time travel rules were inspired by Harlan Ellison, leading to a lawsuit. Science fiction author Harlan Ellison noticed striking similarities between the Terminator and his work, particularly the Outer Limits episodes Soldier and Demon with a Glass Hand. Both stories involve time-traveling soldiers, dystopian futures, and predestination paradoxes. Ellison publicly claimed Cameron had borrowed liberally from his concepts without credit. The studio, wanting to avoid prolonged litigation, settled out of court and added an acknowledgement in the film's credits thanking Ellison for his works. Cameron has always disputed the claim, maintaining his fever dream origin story, but the legal settlement remains. It's a reminder that science fiction's ideas often travel through collective consciousness, with similar concepts emerging independently. Whether direct influence or parallel evolution, the controversy hasn't diminished either creator's legacy. Number 19. The movie nearly released straight to video. Studio executives looked at the Terminator's rough cuts and saw a confusing mess, an unmarketable hybrid of science fiction, horror, and action with a lead actor known primarily for muscles, not acting. Internal discussions seriously considered bypassing theaters entirely and dumping the film straight to video rental, cutting their losses and moving on. Then someone suggested limited test screenings to gauge actual audience reaction. Those screenings changed everything. Viewers went absolutely crazy for the film, filling out comment cards with overwhelmingly positive responses and demanding to know when it would release. The studio reversed course, gave the Terminator a proper theatrical push, and watched it become a sleeper hit that kept building momentum through word of mouth. Sometimes, audiences know better than executives. Number 20. The Terminator's red machine vision was created with simple optical tricks. Those iconic point-of-view shots showing the Terminator's computer-assisted vision, complete with targeting data, threat assessment, and scrolling text, look futuristic even today. But they weren't created with advanced computer graphics. The visual effects team hand-designed every overlay, creating physical elements that were photographed and composited frame by frame onto the footage. Text was generated on primitive computers, printed, photographed, and carefully aligned. The red tint came from optical filters, not digital grading. Every piece of targeting information was individually placed and timed. The process was tedious and analog, requiring meticulous planning and execution, but the handcrafted quality gives these shots a tangible texture that pure CGI often lacks. The machine vision feels mechanical because it was constructed mechanically, one careful layer at a time. The Terminator proved that revolutionary cinema doesn't require massive budgets, just unstoppable vision. If you love discovering these production secrets, hit subscribe for more forgotten Hollywood history. The past is full of stories worth remembering.